Hi, so I did my presentation on the resource called Woke Kindergarten. My name's Tikva Shapira, and I'll jump right in. I chose Woke Kindergarten as a resource because the title was really intriguing. And after looking more into it, I'm glad that I chose it because I do think that it's really important. Teaching children these large concepts that woke kindergarten um, tries to help teachers teach, I think is really important because at such a young age, these kids are so malleable, and I think it's important to instill within them good values. And also, people come from all backgrounds, especially in a setting like school. People are coming from all sorts of different backgrounds. So it's important for children to learn these tools and values and things like that so that they can begin to implement them in classrooms and in their life from these young ages. The goal of this tool of Woke Kindergarten is to help Wow, I keep saying teenagers, so sorry. The goal of Woke Kindergarten is to help teachers find ways to teach students, I think specifically kindergarteners, these important and complex and large ideas and concepts. So it's innovative ways to teach, resist, and introduce concepts to kids. And um, here is a screenshot of the homepage where you can see that there's like 12 or 13 pages with all different types of resources on it, and I'll jump into that on a later slide. But so it's just a resource for teachers. And additionally, it's for teachers to teach students about abolitionists, pro-Black, queer, and trans liberation. Teaching the resources that this online website has. They have workshops and consultations, whether that's for class design and lesson plans, but they also have like if you're writing a book, consultations. And reviewing. And they also have posters and art for free that one could hang in their classroom. There's a lot of food for thought on the page on the website, where a teacher could take these ideas and concepts and decide how they want to implement that into, or if they want to implement that into their classroom and lesson plans, rather than handing it to them on a silver platter. It's more of like, here's a question to contemplate and find out meaning a teacher's views on it, and deciding if whether or not or how they wanted to implement that in their classroom. There's also a sense of community, which is really valuable for like-minded teachers to be able to compare and discuss skills or lesson plans or things like that. And also, teachers can implement these ideologies into their lessons plans, as well as into their classroom behaviors and what their goals are for how to motivate their students. So the technology integration that is involved in Woke Kindergarten. There's videos, and then there's others, which will be the next slide. So this is tools kind of that Key, which is the person that created Woke Kindergarten, is the person that created Woke Kindergarten. So these are resources for teachers to implement these lessons into their classroom. So for example, they've got Woke Read Alouds, which is basically Key, who's the person that runs this, reading books to students or to the audience. So this could be, I guess, used for any parent or teachers or after school programs or anything like that. And something that I found that was really special about these videos is that they're really engaging. It's not just Key reading a book to a screen. It's kind of like a kids TV show, where in the sense that Key will be like, what is this called? And then leave a blank space for the audience to then answer the question. And Key will, after a few seconds, answer the question while putting the answer on the screen. so that the audience, whether that's children or anyone, can then see the words spelled out and can engage into the book as if it was in a classroom or as if it was a real life person reading this book to them. So I thought that was really great. And they've got a whole bunch of books selection from, and they're all about abolitionists and queer, trans, and pro-Black liberation and everything like that. A second video resource that was on Woke Kindergarten is something called 60-Second Texts, and it's big concepts for little people in 60 seconds. And something special that I thought about these was that they're very short videos with a whole variety of different topics. So I thought that was important, and a teacher could easily implement maybe like one a day or one a week into their classroom to introduce children to different ideas, different people, and I thought that was really great. And they're 60-second videos, so it helps keep students more engaged. The second section for technology integration, what I labeled as other, because it's just, it's just other. So there was Woke Word of the Day, which you can see on the bottom picture, and it's language of resistance is what it's called, but it's words that may be being used a lot in media currently or in current political arguments and discussions that are going on in the world right now. And it's important for children of all ages to understand these words and understand what's going on. So teachers could implement that. And again, there are a bunch of words of the day. Teachers could make their own using these ideas and concepts to implement their own word of the day. There's also Woke Wondering, which I've also put, which is the top photo on this. It's unconventional quotes rooted in liberation thought. Liberation thought. So those are just quotes and questions. Maybe they're thought-provoking or maybe they're just quotes. And there's also a bunch of those. Teachers could hang them up in their classrooms or use them as writing prompts or anything like that, or even just discussion prompts within classrooms. There's also Little Comrade Conversation, which is more also food for thought, and teachable poems. There's only one poem on the page currently, but I thought the concept of it was really great. So some highlights that I think that Woke Kindergarten has is that there's lots of good resources like the 60-second text that I mentioned before, Woke Read-Alouds that I also mentioned, and Woke Word of the Day. I think those were really well designed and great ideas that I'm happy that Key thought of this idea to give to teachers, whether they use that directly or use it for food for thought for their own classrooms. I think they're important concepts and they're fun and really well done. And additionally, their Key has lots of good food for thought on Woke Kindergarten. And like the Woke Wonderings, I think was good food for thought for teachers to brainstorm different ideas of how they want to implement these ideologies into their own classrooms. So I thought those were pretty good highlights and they were very well done on the website. Some pitfalls that I think were involved in Woke Wonderings is I think that more explanations on each page would be beneficial. Like, for example, this picture down here on the bottom of the screen on the left, it says who we are, and it's basically like the introduction page about what is Woke Kindergarten and who is Key, which is this person on the bottom that runs Woke Kindergarten. And basically there's not much to it, and I was a little bit confused. I had to look a little bit of things up, and I had to just kind of find my own way. It wasn't as easy as I hoped that it would have been to understand what was going on the page and how to navigate it on the website and how to navigate it. So it's just this small little paragraph that is all about Key, and that's basically the only information that we know. And also on the homepage, there was very limited information about what Woke Kindergarten actually is. So I think more explanations about what's going on would be more beneficial, as well as many of the pages were very limited in resources. For example, this page, which is Little Comrade Convos, was just this little paragraph. This is on the top right, this top right picture. It all begins with an idea. Maybe you want to launch a business. Maybe you want to turn a hobby into something more. Maybe you can have a creative project to share with the world. Whatever it is, the way you tell your story online can make all the difference, which is wonderful. And I'm so happy to be teaching children what goes on the internet and about goals and things like that. But I just think there could be more to the page. And additionally, another page called What Do You Mean? Which is the bottom right, just has these two posters on it. And yeah, I think they're great concepts, so I wish that they were built up a little bit more. So my opinions on Woke Kindergarten is that it's great concepts and it's very important resources to be made and for teachers to have. And I hope that it will continue to grow into a larger resource for teachers and for Key. But I also understand how hard it is to make a website and how intricate it is and how much work and time and knowledge it takes. So I hope that this isn't the end website for Key, and I hope that they continue to grow and build their website. But I am thankful that they've published it so far so that teachers can already begin to use this as food for thought or as usage in their lesson plans in the classroom. But I hope that this is not the end goal. And as important it is to teach these topics to their kids, how much of it should be guiding them to form their own opinions versus teaching them how to think. So I think that teachers should be cautious about what information they are telling their students, because I think a really valuable skill that a lot of teachers have is guidance, and for help facilitating kids to form their own opinions rather than just believing whatever they're told. So I hope that teachers that are using these resources that are put out here are using them as resources and not as strict rules. So some questions I've got for you all is, number one, why do you think it's important for children to learn these big ideas, especially from this young age? Number two would be, do you think this is a good way to teach children these ideas and concepts, or do you think there would be a better way to implement that? And lastly, do you think it's more important for resources to be given to teachers to use directly, or for teachers to use them as food for thought and for them to come up with their own lesson plans and ideas based on these opinions and thoughts? So that's kind of what I touched on in the last slide, that should teachers be, well, this is more from the teacher's perspective rather than from the student's perspective, but I think it's important I'll let that for you guys to decide, but do you think it's more important for teachers to be using this resource as a resource and as a lesson plan, or to get ideas and then create and branch off and create their own lesson plans from these ideas and concepts? And lastly, here are my sources: A Teacher's Guide to Tech, and here's the link to Woke Kindergarten. So thanks for joining, and I hope you have a great day.